He was born in fire, but not the kind that brings light, the kind that devours everything. Rhaegar Targaryen entered the world as Summerhall burned, a castle engulfed in flame, as his grandfather, King Aegon V, tried to hatch dragon eggs with wildfire and blood magic. The result? Death, ashes, ruin. And from the wreckage, a baby cried for the first time, born not to joy, but to silence and smoke. From that moment on, the world expected something of him, something more than princely titles or royal blood. They whispered of prophecy, of ancient legends, of a child destined to face the darkness, and many believed Rhaegar was that child. But destiny is a cruel burden, isn't it? They say even as a boy, Rhaegar never laughed. He would sit in the ancient halls of Dragonstone, staring at nothing for hours, or disappear into the dusty libraries, reading books older than Westeros itself. He loved the harp more than the sword, and his songs, his songs could make even the coldest men weep. People said he played with such sorrow, it was as though he already knew how his life would end. He was solemn, beautiful, tragic, and hauntingly alone. But the turning point came, quietly, in a single moment. He was still young when he found it, a scroll in the castle library, yellowed with age. Forgotten by most. No one knows exactly what it said, but after he read it, he walked out of the tower and said only one thing: "It seems I must be a warrior." From that day forward, everything changed. The harp was still there, but now it sat beside a blade. He trained in secret, studied swordplay, obsessed over prophecy. The legend of the prince that was promised became his life's guiding light. A savior reborn to drive back the darkness. A warrior of fire, forged in fate. He believed it was him, but he also believed that the promised prince must be born again. A third child, a union of fire and ice, and that became his quiet obsession. He married Elia Martell of Dorne. She was graceful, intelligent, gentle-hearted. Together they had 2 children, a daughter, Rhaenys, and a son, Aegon. But Elia was frail. The maesters said she could bear no more. And to Rhaegar, that meant the prophecy remained unfulfilled. Then came the tournament at Harrenhal, the grandest gathering in a generation. All the great houses were there, including the Starks. Rhaegar entered the lists, and he won. He unseated the best knights in the realm. But what happened next would shake the 7 kingdoms. Instead of giving the winner's crown of love and beauty to his wife, he placed it in the lap of Lyanna Stark. A winter rose crown, a silent message, gasps, whispers, 1,000 eyes staring in disbelief. Why? Was it love, lust, or something deeper? Did he fall for Lyanna's wild northern spirit? Or did he believe she was the key to prophecy? No one knows what happened next, but the realm never recovered. Rhaegar and Lyanna vanished shortly after the tournament. Some claimed he kidnapped her. Others swore she went willingly. But either way, the damage was done. Her brother, Brandon Stark, rode to King's Landing in fury, demanding her return. But the Mad King, Aerys the Seg, responded with fire. Brandon was strangled while his father burned to death watching. And that was the spark. The kingdoms rose in rebellion. Robert Baratheon, Ned Stark, Jon Arryn, they took up arms. The Targaryen dynasty, a line that had ruled for nearly 300 years, stood at the edge of collapse. And where was Rhaegar during all this? Hiding, planning, protecting Lyanna, no one could say. While castles burned and thousands died, Rhaegar remained in the shadows. Absent from the war, he helped ignite. Only near the end did he return, wearing black armor set with 7 rubies across the chest, dark, cold, regal. He marched to meet Robert Baratheon at the Trident, the river that would become his grave. There, the 2 men who once dreamed of peace met in war. The future of the realm rested on their blades. They clashed in the river. Steel rang, blood flew, and in the end, Robert's warhammer crushed Rhaegar's chest. The rubies burst from his armor and scattered across the water like stars in the current. The last dragon was dead. And with him, so too died a dream. But Rhaegar's story didn't end there. Far from the battlefield, in a lonely tower hidden in the mountains of Dorne, Lyanna Stark gave birth. Her cries echoed down stone corridors as life slipped from her. And in her final moments, she looked to her brother, Ned, and whispered, "Promise me, Ned," because the child she held in her arms was Rhaegar's son, a boy named Aegon Targaryen. To protect him from Robert's wrath, he was hidden, raised not as a prince, but as a bastard. Jon Snow. The North believed him a mistake, but in truth, he carried the blood of ice and fire. Rhaegar's legacy lived on, not in rubies, not in songs, but in a boy who would one day stand at the edge of the world and face the same darkness his father once dreamed of defeating. So now we ask, who was Rhaegar Targaryen? A hero who tried to save the world and failed? A prince who followed prophecy to the brink of madness? Or a tragic fool who destroyed everything he touched in the name of fate? He abandoned his wife, he broke his house, he sparked a war, he died with nothing. And yet, he may have given Westeros its only chance. He was loved, feared, forgotten, then remembered again in the shadows of the past. He was a poet, a warrior, a prince of sorrow. He was fire and silence. He was Rhaegar Targaryen. And through blood, dreams, and ruin, he changed the fate of Westeros forever. Subscribe to the Story Chamber for more truths buried in fire and blood.